Welcome to the Mangrove Community, strengthening the community one branch at a time. For more information about the community or how to volunteer, please visit mangrovecommunity.org.
All right, we're back for another episode of Mangrove Community Presents Reasonable Doubt. Man, we have a very special guest here today, Angeanette Thibodeaux. How you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let us know your background, where you're from,
Sure.
Career-wise, things like that. Let us know about you.
Sure. I am Angeanette Thibodeaux. I am originally from Louisiana. I'm a Louisiana girl, born and raised, and now I'm an Acres Homes girl. Been here for several years now, from the Fofo, of course. And that's where my family, I have deep roots.
Okay.
The Thibodeaux roots are definitely in the Acres Homes community, as most of our leaders that pillars in the community migrated from other areas. A lot of Louisianians migrated from Louisiana into the settler areas,
Right.
especially Acres Homes.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Grambling State University.
Grambling State.
Yeah, I got my master's from Grambling State University, a master's in public administration. I got my MPA, specializing in state and local government, as well as human resource management. I did a double.
Cool. So it sounded like you knew where you wanted to end up in life.
Yeah.
With the decisions you made in college.
Yeah, I love civics. I love our social component. I love advocacy. Having a voice for that little man who feels like they have no voice. That's who I am. I'm a single mom.
Okay.
I have a son named Major. I actually have two sons. One's deceased and one is
sorry to
still
hear that.
living. Yeah, Malcolm and Major. And I face those same challenges that many single moms face today. I go to work. I am a working class mom. I go to work. I pull a 9 to 5, actually an 8 to 5, and in some cases 8 to 6. And then I have to get to the daycare, pick my son up by 6:30, and then it's off to doing community work where I serve as Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council president. I wear that with a badge of honor because I'm able to help the constituents and the residents in the area. I'm all about businesses, small businesses especially. I am a business owner as well. I come from corporate America, which a lot of people sometimes they find that a interesting dynamic that a corporate America girl then turns advocate, then turns community activist, and so you got to understand my walk in life because my walk in life from working from GM. Being a General Motors girl and then going to Bank of America, and I was vice president there. And so going from there, then going into community activist, being an advocate on the ground. But those walks in life led me there because I was on the top. People don't realize, they think I just popped up. No, I've been back in the scenes, working behind the scenes since 2003 with foreclosure. We knew foreclosure was going to be an epidemic before it even happened.
Wow.
So that was one of the things you learn when you're in the bank. It's like my grandmother says, sometimes you have to be a Trojan horse. In the Bible, you have that Trojan horse, do what you have to do to get in. But once you get in, you maneuver and you make things happen for the good of others. You got to sacrifice yourself. And that's what I did. When I found out about foreclosure being an epidemic, we learned in most banks and most corporate America, they know that they're going to have a loss, but you want to mitigate the loss that you have because it's already insured. So when I started learning how the banks operate.
But hold on, mitigate. When you just to get clarity on that, when you say mitigate the losses, what is that exactly? I guess in layman's terms.
Absolutely. You know you're going to lose, and there's only so many dollars that you have insured to know that the bank is just like Vegas. They never lose. And so you're already going to lose money, but now you have a team in place to lessen the amount you lose. So they mitigate that, and so they have a loss mitigation team that works out solutions. Well, we started doing things to work out solutions even deeper. And so what we started learning is that a lot of these houses that was going into foreclosure literally wasn't even worth what the value was, because when they bought at the top of the market, and they bought at an inflated price. So we started doing principal forgiveness. And in order to do that, we formed a union with other servicers and banks called HOPE, the Homeownership Preservation Enterprise. And it just took a life of its own. I found that I liked helping people out of those situations.
So principal forgiveness, you were able to reduce the actual principal on the home?
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing. And it took a team of people coming together like minds, and y'all were able to make that happen.
Absolutely.
So that's beautiful. And that just shows the power when people come together and like minds that are on a mission and have the knowledge and the know-how to do it, and you see it through to the end. That's beautiful. Definitely a blessing. It sounds like everything, your life lines itself up, and we know that only God can do that for us. And it sounds like you were just obedient to your call,
Right.
and you continue to be obedient to your call. So I just want to understand, where did this passion for community come from and advocacy come from?
Glad you asked that question, because I was going to tap into that humble beginnings. You got to remember, I'm a Louisiana girl, cornbread and country fed. So I'm just a Louisiana girl. I'm a country girl. I still believe in the old way of doing things when it comes to community. Sometimes we got to get back to the basics. And that's why I'm taking this new step in life, because if we get back to the basics, sometimes we can get to a level to where we forget how that common man is.
Right.
We forget common issues, and they seem so simple that we take them for granted. So I come from an area where you go outside, you work the farm, you work in the vineyard, and you come back, you reap and you sow, you reap and you sow, you reap and you sow, you sowing and you reaping. And that's where I come from. It's okay to have those humble beginnings. I am never ashamed of where I come from, the dirt roads, one red light town. Everybody know everybody. I can go home right now, and by the time I get to the red light, my mom, everybody know I'm already there, because the police done already told me, we got a new car in town. You know, it's that small, and I'm proud of that.
That's good.
I am so proud of that, because those humble beginnings made me who I am. It took a village to raise me. You got to understand, I came from a family that didn't have that collegiate background. But when you know better, you do better.
Right.
So it took that village. It took somebody in church to say, you know what? I see something in you. Have you ever thought about going to college? Let me pair you with a guidance counselor. Here's Grambling State University. Here's Southern University. Here's Northeast, now ULM. Here's Xavier. Here's LSU. Let us path you.
Right.
So do we blame the parents for not knowing? Absolutely not.
Right.
They did the best they could with the resources that they have, as we are parents now doing the same thing. So it took the village to groom me and raise me that way. And now that they've served me, I serve them.
That's beautiful, beautiful. So it seems like you had a strong support system around you that paved the way for you.
Absolutely.
And again, you took advantage of every opportunity that was laid in front of you. You went to Grambling State University, and then you find yourself in the city of Houston.
Yeah.
The fourth largest city and soon to be third.
Yeah.
How was that coming in, small country girl, coming into the city of Houston? Sometimes that's what we need, a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah. Well, you got to understand, I was working with consulting for Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, NACA, which is one of the largest housing advocacy organizations across the country, 47 plus offices across the country and growing. So that became my baby, and that became something that I went from Charlotte, North Carolina, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Chicago, Illinois, Miami, Atlanta, LA, Phoenix, Las Vegas, you name it, I was there.
The who of cities. So.
Exactly. I mean, I have a slew of cities, and I still have relationships in every last one of those cities today. And it led me from Dallas to Houston, being that I was married at that time, and you do things for love.
Right.
You know, the relationship, the husband leads the family, and then he led the family here. And when he dug into Acres Home, became our home, because that was home.
Right.
That was initially home from the beginning.
Gotcha.
So we just came back to the roots,
Gotcha.
and we dug in. And when you go out in the vineyard and work and you know better, you come back and bring those learnings back to our people,
Right.
and you share.
Yeah, everything happened for a reason. We thank God that you ended up in the Acres Home community, back in the city of Houston, because, I mean, I've seen you out and about and things like that. I see your work and what you do, and it's beautiful. I come to the super neighborhood meetings, and I hear the delegates, the stakeholders, and things like that, I hear them talk about where it was and where it has come. So that's what it's about when that baton is passed to continue to elevate, you know, and grow on top of whatever foundation was already set, which I'm sure it was. And you just took it and you ran with it. And I've talked to several people. I've even seen some things with my own eyes that are in the Acres Home community that is just beautiful. To me, it's one of the, and I don't want to get in trouble when I say this, but it's one of the real complete communities I see in Houston, as far as Black communities. I'm
pretty proud of Acres Homes.
Right.
I really am. One of the things, and I want to say there is no such thing as throwaway people. I think people reach their peak. And so although the Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council was functioning, and it was functioning at a level, it wasn't functioning at an optimal level.
Gotcha.
You know, and again, when you know better, you do better. Right. So that being said, there's nothing wrong with the past administrations. Right. It's just that they have peaked.
Exactly.
As we as people, we as human, our season is over. Yeah. And so then we took it to another level with communication mechanisms, membership mechanisms, being more organized and things of that nature. First, you have to clean the inside of your house, and then you can go out and help others.
I mean, and you came in with a slew of experience. Look at all the cities you've been to. I'm pretty sure you pick something up from every single city that you come from. And I'm pretty sure they all play a role and they're implemented in some type of way, whether small or big. And that experience, like you say, would allow you to expand further than someone who may have just lived their life in one city and not seeing how things operate a little bit differently and work a little differently. It's a million ways to skin a cat, you know. Right. And if you know 3 and another person knows 10, then hey, why not pick up 7 more ways to skin a cat, you know? So Super Neighborhood, now I'm excited to have you on because you decided to take yet another step, and we're running for State Rep District 139.
Texas State Rep District 139. Yes, I have decided to make an ultimate sacrifice and run for an office, Texas State Rep District 139. And again, nothing wrong with where we were as far as the person that is holding that seat now. It's just that I believe we are an intelligent community. We are a district filled with people from all walks of life, with all kind of skills, knowledge, abilities, and talents. And I think at some point we reached that ceiling. And who said that once we get to the glass ceiling, it has to stop right there?
We need to bring that hammer out.
We shattered the glass.
Exactly.
You know, we shattered that glass. And if anybody ever look me up, I shatter glass. I break the ceiling. I have to, because you cannot put limitations and conditions on me.
Right.
You won't have that type of dominion on me. And we shouldn't have that type of mindset in our district and in our community. Again, when we know better, we do better. Yep. Nothing against the administration now. We do what we know to do.
Exactly.
But when there's new concepts, there's things that we have the power and the mechanism to do. There's business development and enhancements from a state level that we could bring and galvanize our community and bring that access to our community, bringing forth awareness, access. And when you bring forth awareness and access, now you got change.
And that's
where change comes from.
And we have to take advantage of everything that's out there, all of our resources. Just like, for example, I was in the process of moving. I had to rent a U-Haul. I'm renting a U-Haul, and I'm getting ready to give the lady my ID. And she's like, no, I don't need your ID. Pull your phone out, because I'm about to send you a link, and you're going to take a picture of the front of your ID and a picture of the back of it. And I'm like, how things have changed. But it puts it in your hands. It empowers you.
Of course.
So you can read the terms and conditions and everything else. You have everything right there in your hand. When usually we're handing over our ID and we don't get the terms and conditions until after we done agreed to everything, paid, signed off on everything. So we have to take advantage of the technology and resources that we have. Now, with you running for this office, you running for state rep. First, let us know what what is the duties of a state rep?
The state representative actually they co-author House bills, House bills that impact your district. What's important to your district? Well, here's the thing: how do you know what's important to your district if you're not out in the district?
Right.
When you're not out in dealing with the everyday common people. And so that's one of the things I want to do first. I want to bring that seat back to the people, because really and truly, you are the representative of the people. It is the state representative. So how do we know how we look abroad, in Austin? How do we know? We look at the House bills that have passed. We look at the House bills that's been presented and who voted for what and things of that nature. But how many of those House bills actually impacted us as a district, or did those House bills impact other districts? Right. And you have to hold people accountable and question that. And
did they line up? And it's funny that you say the people, because I think that's what and this is me talking, I think that's what a lot of our representatives are missing, that you represent the people. You don't represent the business interests that are trying to come in. Of course, if those people are going to come in and bring the people jobs, then yeah, we want them in. But just to get revenue tax off of that business that comes into the district, whether it be city, state, or whatever, which we know in Texas we don't have a state tax, but why is that your main focus, bringing in businesses that are not benefiting the people in the community? Just to say that we have an Amazon. I'll use Greenspoint, for example. To say that we have an Amazon in Greenspoint, we have a Coca-Cola coming to Greenspoint, but are you going to hire our people from our communities? Are you going to hire a second chance? Are you going to give people second chances? Do you believe in that? Because you're coming into a community where a lot of people are plagued with having felonies and things like that. Like you say, they didn't know better. So they didn't do better at that time. But what if they make a change and want to do better? And those are the agreements and the understanding. You have to have a level of understanding as new businesses come into the area. You have to set it up front and say, okay, we want you in this area. There's a study that's been done showing that there's a demand, there's a need. However, in the event that you do come in, we already know you're going to make millions. But how many jobs you're going to dedicate to second chance constituents? How many jobs are you going to dedicate to our African American or our minority members? How many jobs you're going to create for our Hispanics and Asian market? How many jobs? And how many jobs are you going to bring a lot of talent from other states? Those are good questions you have to ask. And I take it a step further, because this is where I'm at with it now. Yes, you come in and you say, oh, well, we'll give this amount of jobs. But if you're giving minimum wage, even if you're paying somebody $15 an hour, if you look at the breakdown on what it costs to live in this city, you're still not helping the community. You're benefiting from that, because you have to pay your worker. And just because you're paying your worker, it still doesn't mean you're benefiting your community. Are you opening up leadership positions, management positions for people from our communities that can really go out and become homeowners? Because if we have a stay-at-home mom, and some people may choose to do that. They may have a stay-at-home mom and the dad goes out to work. A $15 an hour job is not going to suffice. He's going to have to get 2 of those and work 16 hours a day, just if they do want to own a home, because the market in the city of Houston is going up. To me, it's getting out of the reach of the everyday Houstonian. And I feel like they are catering to bring a lot of outside people in, because if you look at the average income in Houston and then the price of a home, they're not adding up. So those are questions I like to ask our representatives. Because you have to stay focused on the people, on the people, on the people. We cannot look at money. We cannot look at big. We know that we need it to generate things and keep it going, but that's not the main focus. The main focus is, how is all of this going to bring a light to our community? I go to Atlanta. Now, Atlanta, they have a whole Coca-Cola park and everything in Atlanta that you can see how Coca-Cola plays a part in the community.
And that comes with the organization and the structure of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a book, it's a hell of a book, The Art of the Deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read that book, it actually will change your life. There's another book called
Art of the Deal. Who's the author? Do you remember? Okay, Art of the Deal. Art of the Deal.
And then there's another one called Getting to Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Getting to Yes is where, you know, I don't hear no often.
Gotcha.
You know, because I refuse to take no. It's part of the next book, The Art of the Deal.
So when somebody tell you no, what is your thought process if you do hear no? To turn it into a yes.
How do we get to yes?
Okay.
How do we get to yes?
So it may be something I'm missing, or
That's right.
so I'm gonna figure it out and put that piece in, and we got a complete
No, it's
puzzle.
not an option. I do it like I tell my son. You know, no, it's not an option. Can't is not an option. Won't is not an option. Quit is not an option. Understand that he's trying to. Prime example, one of his teachers was saying, oh, you got to learn how to reach and get the oranges at the bottom of the tree. You know, when they drop, then you grab it. And he was like, no, I think I'm going to grab them right here. You know, no, I don't even want you to think that wealth is grabbing the fruit that fell from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want you to even grab off the tree. I want you to understand what it means to own the tree and then own the grove.
Right.
So I'm teaching him how to own the grove. Stop picking up fruit.
Right.
Figure out how to plant that seed and own your own tree.
That's beautiful. So, see, I love your conversation, and I love your passion and how you expand your way of thinking, expand your mind, because we're getting too complacent nowadays.
Hard knocks, life.
We're getting too complacent, and there's so much more that we can do as a whole. Just like I run across some statistics on how much money the Black community spends on Jordans per se. $4 billion a year.
Absolutely.
And we want to yell at the politicians that, oh, y'all not treating us fairly. Well, sometimes we got to take a look at the mirror. We can take that $4 billion and reallocate that, you know.
Absolutely.
And design our own shoes. Design our own shoes, and we don't have to charge that much to where we're spending $4 billion. Charge that much to where we're spending $2 billion, and then let's take that other $2 billion and decide what we're going to do with it and how we're going to grow our community.
And we can do that. Remember, if you go read Acres Homes, the book, it tells you.
Acres Home got a book?
Acres Homes, the book, is called The 4-4, Past, Present, and Future.
Okay.
It literally will give you insight on how Acres Homes even became that way, where the 4-4 comes from. And again, the district is comprised of more than just Acres Homes.
Right.
But I say that because it was one of the largest African-American settler areas there was.
In the nation,
In the nation. Right. And so it's a hell of a book, and it's a good story to read how all of this came about. But I say all of that to say, in that, I learned that we are an advanced people. You have to go back to our roots and understand we grew our own crops. We cultivated our own farm. We slaughtered our own meat. I mean, we did it all.
Yes, we did.
And now, how is it that we've become so complacent that we feel like we're in need? Amazon, when you brought that up, Amazon, having Amazon in our area and not negotiating a park, a stadium, an amusement, something for the kids, something for our youth. Shucks, give it back to our institutions. Adopt some schools and institutions, and every now and then have an annual scholarship for children that are in need, or for kids that are getting ready to go to college. That's the art of the deal.
Amazon is critical in a lot of the technology. It's really, in my mind, the foundation that AWS, and we can have all type of, we can teach our children this, because this is the way the world is going, and we have Amazon in our backyard, and we're not
making money,
taking advantage of that.
We should be.
We should have our children out here doing all type of stuff, all type of robotics going through Greens Point, delivering food, all type of stuff. But that's just me. I'm a dreamer, but I do believe dreams come true. And we'll see it through, because now we're having a conversation.
Right.
We were not having these type of conversations 10 years ago. But for us to sit up here and have this conversation, and especially if our children are in the next room listening, or they see us in action having these conversations, then these are things that they're going to be thinking about for life. And once they get of age and they're able to take action, they're going to come out the gates thinking like this.
And we have to think like this, Carl. I cannot tell you how critical this is. The steps that I'm making right now, the steps that you're making right now is not for our children. They're for my grandchildren.
Right.
And as I raise my son and get him to thinking along those lines, I want him to think about his grandchildren. That's generational wealth.
Yep.
You know, we have to think, and as opposed to thinking for the here and now. I have a talk with some of my millennials, and they ask me, why should I vote? What difference does it make? You have to get out of that mindset because if voting was such a non-factor or a non-issue, there wouldn't be so much controversy around where the polls are located, who's eligible to vote, why this person can't vote because of their past, and why these people are a protected class of people that can vote.
Right.
If it was just a nonchalant topic, we would not be having these type of conversations. I want you, that should be a show. Think it through.
Oh, yeah. You go back to 1870 where, we fought for our vote. We received our voters' right through the 15th Amendment. And then 10 years later, we're fighting for our voting rights all over again. And then you fast forward to the civil rights. We're still fighting. So it has to be importance in it. But the thing is, like you say, we have to start from the ground level where we plant the seed, we watch it grow, and we nurture it.
That's right.
And what that means is start at the local level, vote locally, so you can go and see those people, touch those people, shake their hands, and have a conversation and really see where they stand. And then, again, you go from that local level, we push them to the state level. And then we can push them to the national level.
Right.
So now we have a dog in the fight, a real dog in the fight, a person who comes from our area, knows exactly what we face, and they're going to advocate for us.
And that has had real life issues. Bad things happen to good people, real issues. I talked with a group of moms a couple of days ago, and they could not believe, and it's amazing. We live in a society where people judge you by the way you look or the way you carry yourself. And thank God I don't look like what I've been through because I was actually talking to them. And before they could finish the sentence, I said, well, you got to go this here because this is going to happen. And that's going to happen. And they looking at me like, how do you know? Life.
I've been there.
Life. I've been there. I've had to learn how to make $1 out of 15 cents. I've learned how to literally look in the cabinet and there's only a few items there and you try to make do and you make a multitude of food out of a little bit. I've been there.
and you still here and you surviving. You overcame. But the thing is, if time get hard, you know how to go right back to it and you know how to keep surviving.
Survival.
Some people, they don't know anything about survival till times get hard. They're going to jump off a building or a bridge.
But that's why at the state level or at any level, at the local government level, you have to that's why I want people before they exercise their right to vote, think about the candidate that you put in the seat. If they cannot relate to you, if they cannot relate to your morals, your ethics, your goals, the things that are valuable to you, you better think long and hard before you put that person in a seat. Because when things happen, they're so out of touch. You have no voice because they can't even relate to you.
Exactly.
You have to think about those things.
What are your values? So as state rep, what are you standing on? What are you looking to represent? What type of bills could we see Angeanette Thibodeaux pass?
I believe in second chance.
Propose.
Sure. I believe in second chance. Second chance, and in some cases, believe it or not, I sometimes believe in third chances, but I do believe that bad things happen to good people. And I don't believe that someone, an adolescent, especially our young men, I'm not singling out a particular class, but I don't believe that a misdemeanor, when our young men are into peer pressure, riding in the wrong car, happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time at a young adolescent age, and those misdemeanors still follow them. And then when they get into maturity, and our young men mature a little different than our young ladies, obviously, but when they get into maturity and they have a family, and now they got the world on their shoulders, trying to be the colonel, the czar, the dad that carries the family through. Now that they're now taking life seriously, and those two misdemeanors, and they get a third one, now becomes a felon. And now they're a convicted felon, now standing alongside your rapists, your murderers, and things like that. I don't believe that's equality. I really don't.
It doesn't add up.
I really want to take a look at that, see how we can impact that and what we can do, because those are the things that plague our community. The enemy comes to destroy the strongest unit in the family. And what's the strongest unit in the family? That's our men.
Yep, exactly.
Second thing is child support reform.
Oh, child support. Oh, listen,
believe
men,
this.
even some of the women out there, child support. And I'm saying this because, honestly, these are conversations that have been coming up more and more lately. Actually, we had the, and I don't mean to cut you off, we had the 2020 Democratic U.S. Senate Forum held in Greenspoint this past weekend. And it was a guy stood right next to me and said, I'm going to ask them how they feel about child support reform. And people really want to know, so let us know.
I do believe it's time for child support reform. We have not had revisions on child support in years. And as times change, we must change also. We must learn to think about how we maneuver child support. Child support is not a mechanism for someone to earn a living off of. It is not an income for the custodial parent. The non-custodial pays child support for the child. Exactly. And in some point, somewhere down the line, we forgot about the child. And again, I'm a single mom and I deal with real issues. I don't believe that you should just cut a check from the state. The state gets their percentage out of it and then just execute it to the mom or dad, whoever the custodial parent is, and just say, okay, job well done. You never stop to check on the well-being of the child. And if the Malaya Davis case taught me anything, it taught me that the system can fail the child. That baby's death is such a monumental thing. God don't make mistakes. And that death should not be in vain. We forgot about the child. The system failed her. The schools failed her. Everything failed her. But the child support checks never stopped. That's a problem.
And another thing that I see, just again, talking to my peers and things like that, if it's not regulated, then as a father who really loves his child, wants to take care of his child, he's hindered. Because I'm talking to a guy, man, they taking $700 out a month. That's like 2 bills, 3 bills. And I remember this guy before he was put on child support. What you doing this weekend? Oh, me and my boy about to go here. Oh, me and my boy about to go there. And now I talk to him and it's like, man, I'm trying to find a way to get some extra money so I could take my son out. Because you don't think about it, if the money is taken out of his check going directly to the mom, she's not about to give him money to take his son out.
Oh, no.
But at the end of the day, that's what that money that's coming out of his check is for, to take care of his child. And now he's trying to scrape up change and to do things with his child on the weekend because he's hurt now. He still has his bills to take care of and things like that. And then and God forbid the mom's not taking care of the child the correct way. And now the child is really, really suffering because...
And more importantly, how about the man scraping up money because his job is a mediocre job or a job that's not giving him the wages that he needs? Case in point, child support is on his credit.
It is.
And I'm against that. I don't think it should go on your credit. I don't think it should hinder you from advancing in life because 2 people could not make it work. It should not hinder you. He's now has an 21-year sentence that says he can't even advance himself because child support could potentially be on his credit due to late or her credit. Because I actually polled 100 sample of males and 100 sample of females that are both as non-custodial parents paying child support. Less than 10% of both classes, male and females who were paying child support, less than 10% had access to their child. Less than 10% had access to their child. Less than 10% had access to their child. Once again, we forgot about the child. On the credit, you can't go get a car or a vehicle or anything like that if your credit is shot. And some jobs do require you to have good credit. So to even advance, to get up in the world, to get up in life, to make my child proud of me, now I have to deal with this and rob Peter to pay Paul. Come on.
Or literally go out there and rob Peter.
And again, the enemy comes to destroy what? That household. Now we're back to a misdemeanor and a felon. It's all a cycle.
Full circle. And we hit it on the head because that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And now I'm talking to my people like, look, please don't go there, man. I have to. I'm not finna let, but no. But we have to find that balance though, and that's survival, But we have to get past surviving, especially if the system is forcing us into survival mode.
It's forcing our seniors too. And that's something I got to step up on. I cannot let you do my seniors that way. So another thing that I am for and I want to look into is authoring a bill where we have rent control for our seniors. Remember, our seniors are on fixed income. Why do rent go up every year? Because the senior income doesn't go up. Right. So we need to have a cap amount. There should be limits in rent control for our seniors. Wherever they choose to live, if they are a senior, it should be something in place to say that their rent is at a controlled amount, it's locked in, it will not go up every year because their income is fixed income.
And it makes a lot of sense.
How can you do that? They served us.
Even the buyers. And now on the home ownership part, it comes into knowledge and education because there are some things out there that can help them with taxes and give them tax breaks and things like that. But the ones that don't know, and you have their neighborhoods that are being gentrified. So, of course, the property value is going up, taxes are going up. And now they're looking like, I can't pay my taxes. And we know how some seniors are. They like to keep things to themselves. They may not tell their children. They may not tell their grandchildren. And next thing you know, we're finding out when the home is actually up for auction that Big Mama was behind on taxes, So we definitely have to, because, again, we want to see our communities advance. But like you say, we have to protect certain people within our communities.
We have to have my seniors are a protected class, and my children, my youth I hold near and dear to me. So if nothing else, again, that's bringing the seat back to the people.
To the people.
Yeah, that's their seat.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And then, so another thing I see, and this is actually something I address with the city at the local level, even though I know it's not in their wheelhouse, but and this is me, if I'm the mayor of a city and on the state level, I see things are not quite right, why can't I advocate? Why can't I say something? I know I'm not in a position to actually do something, but why can't I speak out against it? Or why wouldn't I speak out against it? And one thing I'm referring to is the gerrymandering that I see here in Houston, the way our districts are broke up and split up. You have, I don't even think Olive Acres Home is in the same district when it comes like the District B.
For District B and 139, it is, but then when you get into Independence Heights, City Gas, and different things, now you form out of District 139 into another district and things like that. But you do need to contribute this to how the census is done. And we have a big one coming up. Census 2020 is going to change everything.
So when they come knocking on your door, we should give them that information.
You have to. You would do yourself a disservice if you don't, because the census, not only, you got to remember, millions of people move into this city on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. I had some people that I haven't heard from in a while, and they were my old GMAC people that worked on the finance industry side. They would live in Gaslamp in San Diego, California, now tells me that they actually sold their house. They can take the cash that they made from selling their house, come and buy a brand new, bigger house here
in Houston,
and still have money left. They're migrating here.
They see our market.
Houston. Yeah, they see the market. So that being said, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's so much value here. But that census, these are new people that's coming.
Add these people.
Now you're adding people to the district, and districts only hold X amount of people. So it's going to change. And I don't know whether the result is going to be redistricting to make it a bigger district, smaller district, add some districts. We don't know. But the important thing is filling out that information and getting it back.
Is that something that is handled on the state level? The redistricting? Oh, that's federal.
Census, all of the Census 2020 is federal.
Yeah, and see, that's why it's important, like, once again, that we elevate our people, because they know what we're dealing with. So when this census do come in, they know how beneficial it would be to structure the district to where it's not broken up, to where a district like District B, you don't have to go from the northeast side of Houston to Greenspoint to Acres Home. Just think about the city council that holds that seat and what they have to do to cover their area, and if they wanted to do it in one day. It's almost impossible, especially if you're one of those people who are going to really sit and listen to your candidates. You're not going to put time restraints on it. I mean, your constituents and not put time constraints on it. You may not be able to make it to the next one if you go over. So definitely things we need to look at. So what anything else you're looking to do in the state seat?
Business economy for our small businesses. You know, a lot of opportunity comes through the state level. We have a lot of good city programs that actually promote small businessmen and actually promote minority businesses and things like that. And the access is there on a city level, and I thank the city for that because they do a really good job of trying to make sure we are aware of those opportunities. On the state level, I don't see that as much, but I do know that there are state contracts, procurements, and things like that we do need to be, it needs to come to the forefront, bring us that access, bring us that awareness, and let us decide how we want to change and maneuver our businesses.
So on a local level, how do you gain access for those who don't know, who may be small business owners? What do you do to get access to those grants and things that are out there in the city of Houston?
And in the city level, we have the Business of Opportunity. We have our that's a great department. Department of Neighbors is a good department to work with because the Department of Neighbors is for citizen assistance and for our communities. And the Business Opportunity in the city does a good job of working with the minority, small businessmen, just different levels of business. So there's some opportunity there.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let me ask you this. And I don't know exactly how long you've been in Houston from the time that you came from humble beginnings in small town with a dirt road to traveling the country and visiting all the other different cities. From the time you entered into Houston to now, what type of changes have you seen for better or worse?
I've seen a lot of changes. I mean, I was here for Harvey. And if nothing changed your life is the fact that knowing that you can go to sleep one night and wake up and, you know, you wake up and your feet are hitting water as opposed to the solid, dry floor. That's something I could never fathom. And I definitely wouldn't want anyone to go through that again. But again, that's natural disaster. That's life. And again, those are not new conditions for us. We rise above it. To see a city come together and just form a union and help each other out. Oh my God, that actually reminded me of home because that's how it is. We come together in times of distress and times of need, and we help each other out. So when I saw that, I was more happy. It was sad about the situation that we were in, but I was so happy to see how it doesn't matter. Black, yellow, brown, it doesn't matter who you were. Everybody pulled together as a city to help. And it really was Houston strong.
It was. And that's something
proud of that.
And that's something I would love to see day in and day out. But ever since that day, I can tell you this, that you see it more and more and more, and people are really getting involved in their communities and things like that. It was a video popped up on my Facebook yesterday, something like that. And it was a guy who was he helped out during Harvey, and he recorded everything. And I guess it may have popped up, or I don't know, but he shared it. And I was like, wow. And like you said, I just remembered that time, how everyone was coming together. And me, myself, and my coworkers, they mess with me because I always tell them, I used to be 230 pounds. And they always like, what happened? Because I show them pictures, and they're like, what happened? I'm like, what you don't understand is when Harvey hit, that's when I was called by God. And I decided to follow it. And I went out. And I can remember we went 6 months strong, day in and day out, where I went from sitting at a desk to eating 3 meals a day and all the snacks in between to I reminded myself to eat at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, and I'm still trying to get my weight back, but we'll get it up. But that's the commitment that the city had at that time, and it's beautiful.
It was a beautiful thing to see. You know, my grandmother used to say, "I got a Big Mama and I got a Madeira." So, and having both of them, but I had the best of both worlds.
Right.
But they used to tell me that the day will come when the lion must lay with the lamb. The lion must lay with the lamb, and it's amazing that I heard it, I could hear it. And I actually experienced it.
Right.
I experienced it on Saturday. I literally saw in a place where no lion has ever come before, because they were always at this upper echelon level. And that day on Saturday, the lions came and they had to lay with the lamb. And it was a beautiful thing to see.
I was able to have a conversation with a lady. She was actually up from the Woodlands. And for her to say, hey, I'm a white lady who called white people out on ABS. I was like, and the whole time, I'm like, every time I hear the Woodlands, I would never, and this is telling you where I'm at, and forgive me, but I would never thought I would hear a remark like that for someone coming out of the Woodlands. But I mean, they real just like us, and we may share some of the same problems. It may not be financial, or we look back at the civil rights, it was plenty of whites who advocated and helped push us along during the civil rights, and we still need that. We all need to come together on one accord and one cause, because if unjust for one is unjust for who? For all, right?
That's right.
So, beautiful. Man, I just love your spirit. I love your energy. I love your values and what you stand on, and would definitely love to see you represent.
Yeah, and they actually called me and told me that when I win, that I'll also be the first female to hold that seat. I did not know that until, because it didn't matter. I know what I want to bring. I'm not trying to replace anybody, because nobody's replaceable. They all have their own unique value. I just know what I can bring to the table, and I know what plagues our everyday common man. Why? Because I'm an everyday common woman.
Exactly. Like, I guess some people play with their blinders on, and some people choose not to. Like, a lot of people like to compare Jordan and LeBron, and the major difference I see with them is when Jordan put those blinders on, he's going in and he's going to get what he wants to get.
Mission driven.
Exactly. But then think about it. He's benefiting from it. And from him benefiting from it, his team is benefiting from it, but who got all the highlights, accolades, and things like that? But you look at LeBron, who he's looking to pass first. He's made a lot of players,
Thank you.
So, and he'd empowered them to where they're leading other teams now. So it just depends on how you look at it. And I'm not taking nothing from Jordan, because my pop's diehard Jordan fan from Chicago, but it's just a new age and a new day and a new way of seeing things. So beautiful. Any events you have coming up you want to let us know about? I
have a big kickoff coming up at the end of the week, and I'll be posting that on ThibodeauxForTexas.com. And I know my name is spelled.
Thibodeaux for Texas.
Sounds crazy, but I love that name. It's ThibodeauxForTexas.com. So look for me on the Facebook public group so you can see some of the events coming up soon. But there is a monumental event coming up next month.
Monumental, that's big.
It is monumental, backed by popular demand. We did it one time. It is the biggest housing event you have ever seen in Houston. We did it last year, and we're coming back to do it again. And so we'll be at Greenhouse International. We're transforming that center into a 5-day solution-driven system. And what happens there is the ability, if you can afford to pay rent, you can afford to make that same amount of payment in a mortgage. That's principal, interest, tax, and insurance. So we're going to have it where you come in February 27th through March 2nd. February 27th through March 2nd. And you come in, you go to the workshop, you get counseling, you go to the underwriter, you get a qualified, you get your house shopping letter that says you've been qualified, you go out with a realtor and find your house. And that's it. All in one day. 1-day process. So, and that's through NACA, www.naca.com. We are coming to Houston. 5-day event is huge, it's monumental. I'm pretty proud of it, because people that thought they could never own a home now realize that they've been renting. I met someone who's been renting for 26 years. 26 years she's been renting.
Wow.
She's coming to the event. She's going to get qualified because your qualification is your rental history and your ability to pay.
Wow.
I love it.
Changing lives, man. I love it. So
love it.
beautiful, so beautiful, so
Yeah.
beautiful. And people, please, please, please look into NACA. If you're looking to buy a home and you don't know about NACA, you should definitely look into them and see how you can benefit. No closing costs, no down payment, no fees, no PMI. Beautiful. I mean, look into it, see how it can benefit you. Again, in the city of Houston, rent is going up. And believe me, I know I grew up in Greens Point. I still have family in Greens Point. I know, I'm like, you're really paying this much for this apartment in Greens Point now. Yeah, I'm like, no, you should be paying for your own home, paying on the mortgage.
And there's plenty of money. Remember, we orchestrated a deal. Remember, I used to be vice president of Bank of America. So we orchestrated a deal to where
Trojan
they had
horse.
this loose money around, $100 million. I negotiated
Wow.
to make sure that the constituents, the residents in the city, the citizens in Houston have access
Wow.
to that money. $100 million is there. Good for the taking.
I'm so Thibodeaux for Texas. Negotiating $100 million for the city of Houston. See, that's what it's about, people. That's what it's about. And these are the type of people that we need representing us. Most
Achieving
definitely.
the impossible. It's achieving the
Yes.
impossible. My mom was asking me why I decided to run, and I say, you know why? I said, because they said it's impossible. You're running against an incumbent. You're running against name recognition. You're running against the fraternity. You're running against this. You're running against that. You're the only woman that'll be in the city. It's never happened before. Well, guess what? Nothing has ever been given to me. I've had to fight all
Right.
my life.
All my life I had to fight.
Oh, I know, right? I really have. All my life, I've had to struggle
Right.
to get to where I am now. I had to go against the odds to get a degree. I had to go against the odds to get a master's. I had to go against the odds. They said I could never have a child. I have two.
Wow.
I had two.
Wow.
So I had to always go against the odds. So the reason why I'm running, because my motto is I'm achieving the impossible.
Wow.
They said it couldn't be
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm not a gambling man, but if I had to put my money down in Vegas on the fighter, I would definitely want you in the ring
There
for
you
me.
go.
Most definitely, man. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
I wish you the best.
Thank you, Carl.
When we see you in office, we definitely pray that the people there see it the same way.
Absolutely.
The representatives there see it the same way and vote the same way on any proposals that you may put forth, because you definitely have some beautiful ideas. You definitely have the track record to prove it, that you are for the community, you're about the community, you know the needs of the community. Not saying you know it all, but you're also open to listen
Absolutely.
and find out new things and new ways. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
Carl. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure with you.
All right, y'all. It was good. Y'all be blessed. And please take this information, look into it, see how it can benefit you. Thank you. Y'all be blessed.